It's too tight.
It's falling into my skin. Take it off.
I command you, unclean spirit, along with all your minions attacking this servant of God, where the mysteries.
Seven swans are swimming. Oh, actually, that's the wrong thing. We are actually talking about The Seventh Day, which is an exorcism movie, not a Christmas Carol. This one is directed by Justin P. Lange, who also wrote the movie, and it stars Guy Pearce, Keith David, and Stephen Lang. I will point out that Keith David and Stephen Lang are more cameos, and even Guy Pearce is more of a supporting role, and he plays Father Peter, the mentor to our main character, Father Daniel. Now, we see a kind of a sequence at the beginning of the movie taking place in 1995, where there is an exorcism of this young boy. There is a young priest who seems to be somewhat kind of inexperienced, and he is being mentored by Keith David's character. The exorcism goes horribly wrong, and then we cut to modern times where that priest has now grown up to be Guy Pearce, playing Father Peter, and he is tasked to now chaperone this new young priest who wants to become an exorcism, Father Daniel. Now, he's a bit reluctant to do so, but he's renowned to be the best exorcism guy in the business. And they go on a variety of some misadventures, shall we say. Guy Pearce's character is a rough and ready priest. He takes no prisoners, has somewhat of a anti-authority attitude, and Father Daniel was struggling to kind of like really find his feet with him. But they learned of some great demonic plot to kind of multiply the amount of demons and stuff. What will happen? You'll have to watch the movie to find out. So let's discuss what works. So a couple of pretty good actors here, well, three very good actors who I've enjoyed their work, all do, I think, pretty good work in this movie. As I've said, Keith David and Stephen Lang don't have a lot of screen time, but I enjoyed the roles that they were given. I enjoyed the small appearances that they had. And Guy Pearce, I think, is one of those actors, despite the level of movie he's in, tends to always commit and give a good performance, if not a great performance, but certainly a solid performance. And that's true of this movie. I would say the movie starts out very strong. The initial exorcism that we see looks very kind of scary, and some of the things that we see here are a little different. For example, the demon possessing this child almost makes it look like he's being possessed by the Joker by giving him this huge wide smile and things like that. It's pretty freaky looking, and there's some decent kind of special effects here. Then we kind of cut to our modern times, and we learn that there's potentially an interesting plot development in regards to the demons becoming more and more aggressive and wanting to, possess more people because they want to ultimately multiply. And then we have the Vatican, who wants to kind of pull back on exorcisms because they fear it's bad press. So we have a real kind of a situation here which seems to be quite dire. And really only standing between them are these few priests that can do exorcisms and things like that are somewhat off book and kind of have to be kept quiet. And it seems like it's a good setup for a film. And there are a couple of sequences here in regards to sort of special effects that I thought were quite good. There's a sequence, for example, where our priests are trying to get the demon to reveal itself in the police station so the police will believe them. And I thought, they're never going to do that. Oh, it does! So that was kind of quite fun. Although, frustratingly, we never really saw the police reaction to it, which I thought was a little bit of a missed opportunity, but never mind. And there are a couple of small plot points here that I thought were quite fun. And Guy Pearce is infinitely watchable, even when he's kind of like, it's a somewhat of a B movie, he still gives it at least a solid performance, as I've said. I think he's always kind of like commits to a certain point in films, regardless of maybe how schlocky they actually are. I think the movie is quite well shot in regards to its kind of technical kind of elements here. I think the things like the editing, the lighting, all that sort of stuff is pretty good. But where it falls down is the damn plot, because the writing in this movie is horrible. It is horrible. It started off well. This movie started off strong. I thought, oh, this is going to be good. But then we get to our first questionable plot point. I'm not going to list off all of the things that I found stupid in this movie, but I'll go for a couple. We are meant to believe that the younger priest, Father Daniel, has had, and he says, a few weeks training learning to become an exorcist. You learn more on the job. This is his first day, and he is ultimately told to go into this house of this child murderer where he's killed his whole family and soak up the evil. And he immediately has like psychic visions about what happened. And I just thought, he had a couple of weeks training, and all he's done is walked into this house and he's immediately kind of got visions. It just seems so lazy. And I thought, oh, and he's kind of not all that freaked out by it. He just goes into the next room, has another vision, has another vision. I mean, it's completely otherworldly stuff, but it's just so like blasé. And I was kind of like, oh, that doesn't seem like particularly good writing. But it doesn't stop there. As the movie goes on, it transpires that this movie is just really dumb. I don't want to go into specific plot points because that one was relatively early. But it's things like that. As the film progresses, it gets dumber and dumber and dumber, and it feels like it's trying to be a setup for a TV show. Where we have the adventures of these priests that are going to be kind of going around and doing demon stuff. It feels horrible. I'll tell you one more thing. It just baffled me. So they go up to these. They're trying to ultimately exorcise this young boy who's in prison for killing his family. As part of their investigation, they go up to this group of kids who are about 10, right? In this kind of like shady looking sort of video game arcade place. And they talk to these kids and ask them to take them to their underground lair. It's like, do we not see the problems of this? And the kids do. And they have no problem, these kids, just going to take these two strangers who are not dressed as priests, by the way, into this quiet, secluded room. And kind of show, and they just agree to it straight away, you know, they don't question it straight away. It's just so poor writing. It's so tone deaf to realistic kind of situations. It's pure B movie, which is a shame because you've got some good talent here in regards to some of the kind of the acting involved, the actors, but it's just stupid storyline. I have to say as well, our main character, Father Daniel, is somewhat of a bland performance, shall we say. I'm not going to say a bad performance, but I will say a bland performance where we really don't feel like we empathise with this character because he kind of seems a little whiny. He seems quite kind of like, you know, not particularly interesting, not particularly a character that you can kind of root for. He's meant to be somewhat anxious, which I get. But some of his, again, going back to the writing, some of the things that he is asked to do as a character do not make sense. But it also isn't helpful. We have a really bland performance and a bland character that we're meant to kind of root behind, and we just don't. So this is one of these films where I feel it looks quite glossy. It looks like it has a reasonable production value on the finish, but it's rotten at the core in regards to its base narrative, which is a real shame because I thought this started off like a really strong movie, and had it carried on like that, it could have been really interesting. It has a twist on it which is so obvious. We're meant to believe this is, oh my god, such a shocking reveal. It is so telegraphed earlier on, you know, and it's just ultimately a below average film, which is a shame. I think it sets up to be a fairly decent one, but it just goes downhill from that opening sequence. I'll give it a 4 out of 10. Have you seen it? What did you think of it? Leave me a comment and I'll look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.